Welcome to the City of Parker Council meeting for the 20th of August, 2024. Everybody, please stand.
Pastor Reinhardt's going to do the
Are you?
Pastor Reinhardt.
Go ahead, sir.
Let's pray. Father, we certainly thank you for the freedoms, the liberties that we enjoy in this country. And Lord, thank you for our city. I pray for those in positions of leadership that you help them make good, right decisions concerning our city for the benefit of the citizens who live here. And again, just thank you for your mercy. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Mr. Chapman.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everybody, please be seated. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll for me, please?
Ms. Barrow?
Here.
Ms. Boterford?
Here.
Mr. Chappell?
Here.
Mr. Haney?
Here.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, ma'am.
And the minutes are delayed. They haven't been.
Yeah, okay, the minutes are delayed, so you won't be voting on those tonight, but you'll get them soon because we're short of help. At this time, is there any items from the audience? If there are, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and we'll see if we can answer your question.
Come.
Virgil Marshall, 1611 Lincoln Avenue, Panama City, Florida.
Okay. You know we have no jurisdiction over that address, right?
I understand that.
Okay.
But I'm here before y'all because I fell victim, like so many other people in Bay County, to J&L restoration. I sent you an email going back that I've worked with Detective Purdue, and basically they're a sham. My car was unsafe to drive. The hood was not attached. I couldn't even pull up to a gas station and put gas in it. Yet when I filed a complaint with the state, he sent me a certified letter telling me that he was going to charge me $65 a day for storage. I was wise enough to bond it out through the court system, and two of your police officers actually had to help me push it out to get it towed. They're going to kill somebody. They've already lost several cases. The hood was just sitting there, but yet he was finished with it. The fender only had 3 screws, and there's 20-something people that they may have been trespassed from there that are paid for their car because he won't let them see it, and then they find out how bad it is.
Oh, excuse me,
So
are
I'm
you talking
asking-
about the business right
Yes,
down
ma'am.
here on 98?
Yes, ma'am. So
Okay.
I'm asking you all, because Florida statute 590, 559.904 gives you all the authority to revoke their license or shut them down, at least till they pay all their fines. There's a couple that they're sending $50 a week, and they owe them thousands of dollars. They're
Okay,
just
sure.
basically.
Chief Hutt, are you familiar with what he's talking about?
Yes, sir, we have worked, I wasn't sure if it was him or not, but we have worked some cases over there.
So we don't need any further information. We have everything you need, right?
They also signed an investigator from the state of Florida.
Oh, they did.
To the case as well, and that has jurisdiction over the licensing.
Okay.
It does have a Florida license and do business.
Okay.
For the auto body shop, and I do not know what there is.
Sir, does Detective Purdue have your contact information?
Yes, sir, and I've also emailed you, and I'll give it to anybody. But
Okay, that's okay, that's okay.
while they're investigating, they're gonna kill somebody.
Okay.
It's not the person driving the car, it's somebody behind you.
Okay.
As far as it's gonna fall off.
I gotta have a little bit of time to fix it,
Yes, sir.
right? Because this is first I'm hearing of it. So tomorrow, I have 4 appointments ahead of you.
Okay.
And when that 4th appointment's done, I'll talk with Chief Hutto, and we will find out what it is we need to do at least for the city of Parker's concerned. You know, I can't speak for anybody else.
Right.
And we'll find out where it's at, and I will call you back with an answer from the state or from our police, but you were satisfied with what our police did, you're telling me, right?
Well, they helped me they actually learned something because the sheriff's department was busy. They always thought it was civil, and it wasn't.
Okay, that's fine.
So they learned something.
Okay, that's fine.
I have a question for you, sir. Have you filed a complaint with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer
And
Services?
that's when, yes, sir, in the middle of
Good.
mediation is when he sent me that letter telling me he was gonna charge me $65 a day. And then I bonded it out and the vehicle was not drivable. But that's what he does because according to
Okay.
some investigations, there's been some, when you come to get it
Yes, sir.
or when you come to complain,
Well, I've heard the grapevine about his.
Have you familiar with John?
yeah,
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, he calls the police and gets you trespassed.
Yes.
Okay,
And so
All right.
that's just part of his trick. And so
Okay.
until we shut him down, he's gonna kill, or them down, cause it's a husband and wife.
Okay.
They're gonna kill somebody.
And he
Thank
takes
you.
the money ahead of time,
Yeah.
and then he don't get the work done like he.
okay, thank you, sir, and I will look into this fourth person tomorrow. All right, is this,
Did I go
we,
over my time? I'm sorry.
counsel, how, if this ends up being factual, how would you feel about suspending or removing his license?
Not a problem.
Okay, okay, well, let's get through the investigation and find out what they say first. And then we'll look at that.
Suspending the business license, Mayor, is not the remedy. There might be other things in the ordinances that you could use.
Do, yes,
Yeah,
But-
because being in that type of business, anybody can go get a business license. If
Well,
it's-
no,
if it's
they
revoked
have to
from one
be,
person, it
they
could-
have to have a state of Florida
license,
license.
to be able to perform those
any
duties.
Mechanic work, auto body.
So now
work,
that he's
all
brought
that
this to
goes
us-
But
to
the city
state.
doesn't have jurisdiction over that.
But are we vicariously responsible now that he's brought this to our attention in a public forum?
No, you're not vicariously liable if that's your question. You will be moving forthwith to see what kind of
Right,
action the city can take.
right,
Because the state does have jurisdiction
Okay.
on the licensing that he's talking
all
about.
right, well, if this is the first I've heard of it, give me a few minutes and I'll get on this Ricky tick. Okay,
They have to have a motor vehicle number through the state,
okay,
not gutter, whatever it is.
That's a shame.
is there anybody else that has anything they'd like to talk about? Please come to the podium. State your name and address, sir.
Name's Oliver Kennedy, 713 Community Avenue. I'm here to ask the council for permission to leave my boat parked in the front yard where it's been the last 15 years off and on.
Isn't this a code case, Mayor?
Yeah, you came here the last time to ask for an extension.
Now,
I was-
I thought I was gonna get the permission to either do it or not do it, but you said the code enforcement officer won't hear, you didn't know it. So
That's
you
right.
Give me 30 days.
I gave you 30
I
days.
decided to come back tonight and request again.
Okay, well, that's great. So, in council, in your packages, and I have a copy here also, including the photographs that he took of your property. This is a code violation. The council doesn't intervene in a code violation.
Okay.
You're gonna have to go through the code enforcement process. But my understanding is that because of the condition of your property and because of the amount of vehicles and boats that are on your land, are your windows sealed shut?
My windows have some plywood over them, and I've painted them so it looks like a window. with
Right,
a
right.
cover around them there.
Yeah,
But
My-
if I hadn't, wait a minute, if I hadn't had that plywood up there, I was up in North Carolina when
Right,
Michael came.
right,
I left a week before we'd even got here.
right,
I wouldn't have a house.
right.
That's a fire issue, isn't it?
My issue, yeah, my
And
concern
I don't have
is,
a problem, and my neighbors haven't had a problem, and they just had a house sell one house over from me on the corner
yeah,
of Camellia for $190,000.
they did,
So
yeah.
it ain't hurting the value of the property nowhere.
Okay, so we have ordinances in the city of Parker, and the code officer, in accordance with his responsibilities, has issued you a citation, a notice of citation for a code violation. And you're gonna have to answer that code violation, or you could come before the code enforcement magistrate and plead your case.
Is that here too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Not with me. I don't get involved in that.
That's okay.
We don't do that. But if that's the route you want to go, that's fine. But we got to go through the process first.
Okay.
And how many years have those boats been sitting there?
Off and on, I got here in 1991.
Okay. I never seen them move.
Yeah, at the time I got here, that street, usually there was 3 or 4 boats parked in the front yard in
Right.
every one of them houses.
Right.
Now there's only, well, there's one that's parked down the side of one house, and my house is the only one that's got the boats on that side of the street.
You're not interested in putting them in your backyard?
I ain't like I know the backyard, you can't get to the backyard to put
Oh.
nothing back there.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, like I say, sir, I gave you 30 days because I was unfamiliar with the case. What we had on the agenda that night needed to be dealt with, and I couldn't go on for hours and hours. He's given you this citation. I have a copy of it right here, and I have photographs. I only have one question that's got nothing to do with code enforcement. Are you familiar or are you aware your flag is hung upside down?
It's like that deliberately and on purpose.
Okay,
And each president since Bush was in office has been aware of. I sent him a picture of it. They ain't balancing the budget. And the Democrats are just as damn sorry as the Republicans.
okay.
That's why, that's my little protest.
I understand.
And the etiquette is, it's a distress signal. And
It
I
is.
think the country's in distress with the budget.
Yeah, okay. All right,
Maybe
sir.
Everybody else thinks it's a joke or whatever, but hell, I'm serious about that crap.
Okay, sir,
If
I
we run
understand.
our money, it's worthless.
Yes, sir. The code officer will, did you talk to him today?
I talked to him today and I told him I'd be here tonight and
Okay.
can this be settled between he and I if we
No.
agree to whatever?
No, because it's already in play now. This is the
Okay,
thing now.
that's fine.
It's got to go all the way through the process. And he's not allowed to negotiate anyway. It wouldn't be, we have a magistrate, and the magistrate would be the one that made the final decision if that's where it went.
We have a Parker magistrate does our code enforcement.
Code enforcement on magistrate. It'll be fine. He hears cases all the time.
That's okay. We're good. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you. Anybody else would like to come to the podium? Nobody. Okay, we're going to proceed on with what we have. This is a public hearing, second reading. We have to open the floor for public, right? Comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open for the second reading of a public hearing.
Of ordinance number 2024-421, Mayor.
Okay, it's the. Do you want to read it, Mr. Sloan?
Well,
If there's nobody from the audience wants to comment on it,
Maybe you should just tell them what it is and then.
it's the ordinance dealing with some amendments to the land development regulations.
right? We heard the first reading like 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
Does anybody have anything they want to speak to on it? Because if they don't, we'll move forward with getting the council to approve it. Okay. Public portion's closed. We
I
need a.
make a motion that we have a second reading.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, very good. And your first name, new name, Mr. Sloan, we can take a vote, please. Madam Clerk, what's the vote?
Ms. Barrow? Yes. Ms. Botiford?
Yes.
Mr. Chapel?
Yes.
Mr. Haney? Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2024-421, an ordinance of the city of Parker, Florida, amending the land development regulations, ordinance number 2022-409 as amended, to amend certain provisions relating to light manufacturing, providing for severability, providing a mechanism for the correction of scrivener's errors, providing for the liberal construction of this ordinance, providing for a repealer clause, and providing for an effective date.
We need,
Motion to adopt.
I'll make the
Motion.
motion that we, adoption of the ordinance 2024.
as written, okay? We need a second.
I'll second.
We have a second. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Barrow? Yes. Ms. Botiford?
Yes.
Mr. Chapel?
Yes.
Mr. Haney?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes. Thank you, council. Moving on to item 2, which is the public hearing first reading. This is for, what's this? Want to read what it's for, Mr. Sloan?
Yes, sir. 2024-423, Mayor. It's a amendment to the land development regulations to update the date of the flood insurance study and the flood insurance rate maps. This is being promulgated by FEMA.
Yes.
And it needs to be adopted by every jurisdiction to stay in line with the FEMA requirements.
Okay. Open the floor to anybody in the public that would like to discuss this. It's pretty extensive. If you need any information on it, I probably couldn't give you your answer right now. Oh. Nobody? Okay. We need a motion to read, right?
Yes, sir.
Motion to have the first reading.
We got a motion, we need a second.
Second it.
Mr. Chappell?
Second it.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
Ms. Barrow,
Yes.
Ms. Botiford,
Yes.
Mr. Chappell,
Yes.
Mr. Haney,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly.
Yes. Thanks,
Ordinance
Council.
number 2024-423, an ordinance of the City of Parker, Florida, amending the land development regulations ordinance 2022-409 as amended to update the date of the flood insurance study and the flood insurance rate maps, providing for applicability, providing a mechanism for the correction of Scrivener's errors, providing for the liberal construction of this ordinance, providing for repealer clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Item 3 is also a public hearing. First reading for Mr. Sloan.
Yes, sir. It's a first reading on 2024-424. This is an ordinance, Mayor, that the council had discussed some time ago and imposed a moratorium on off-premises signs. The Planning Commission then took the direction of the council and took some information, gathered information, and at the Planning Commission they recommended approval of 2024-424 essentially in the form that is that I provided tonight.
Yeah.
It included some paragraphs that originally were part of the strike-throughs, but do relate to general signs, and so they wanted those put back in.
Okay.
And so the 2024-424 is up for public hearing,
Yep.
and then if the council so chooses, a first reading.
Open the floor to public hearing for this ordinance. Does anybody have it? This is the way we talked about the signs, the billboards, and so on and so forth. The planning council has been able to get some language prepared that we can put in our ordinances to control those billboards and those signs. Nobody? Okay. I need a first to read.
Yes, sir.
Motion to read.
Motion to read.
Second.
Got a second. Call the roll, ma'am.
Ms. Barrow,
Yes.
Ms. Botiford,
Yes.
Mr. Chappell,
Yes.
Mr. Haney,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2024-424, an ordinance of the City of Parker, Florida, amending the land development regulations ordinance number 2022-409 as amended to amend certain provisions relating to off-premises signs, providing for severability, providing a mechanism for the correction of Scrivener's errors, providing for the liberal construction of this ordinance, providing for a repealer clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
it,
Sloan.
Mayor, on that
Okay.
one.
Mr. Chappell, do you have anything personal you'd like to discuss?
No, other than our memorial wall over there has got 10 names on it right now, and I've got 2 more that's being printed up. So anybody wants to put their name on there for a deceased, or it doesn't have to be deceased, but a military function, you're welcome to do it. They still got forms in here at the city, and just fill the forms out. I will tell you though that I had one form that they put down all the medals the guy won, and there's not enough room on the plate to put everything in. Things like good conduct and stuff like that, just leave those off. We need to put like if he had a Purple Heart or a Silver Star, Bronze Star, something in that line. But, But, they're looking good over there, and, plants that, we planted, they're, growing and looking good, so.
Looks real good. Looks real good. Mr. Haney, you got the floor, sir.
I was just curious if anybody has heard anything from Mr. Libby. I have tried to call him, never could get through to
I
him.
was told that they moved him. Go ahead, sir. Okay.
He is in Encompass here.
He's where?
Encompass.
Oh, Encompass, okay.
They moved him back to
That's for rehab.
rehab facility. Yes, I stopped Sunday and talked with his wife.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I heard from Ann Hal Rang, my neighbor across the boat park,
Yeah.
or it's not a boat park, it's a park. He's supposed to be returning home on the 25th of August,
Very good.
which is Sunday, and that's kind of an odd day to go home.
Right. Well, as long as he comes home, that's the most
Sounds
important
good.
thing. That's good. Miss Barrow? Miss Butterford?
I have none.
Nothing? I got one little thing, council. You may remember 3 council meetings ago, a gentleman came here, and during the hurricane, I know this has been a long time ago, his building apparently was blown down or damaged. And he had put up some kind of a, I don't know what you would call it, but
Canvas carport.
I guess, to
basically.
be kind, it was a canvas carport.
Right.
That's very right. And so I was of the opinion then, and still am, that he should put it back the way it was before the storm. No big deal. We agreed that that was a good thing to do, and we told him to go ahead and do that. Well, to prove that no good deed goes undone, he and his neighbor are still at odds with each other over a multitude of different things. He is a renter. He doesn't own, but all of the houses around him are owned property. The neighbor slightly down the hill, I met with her. She's very nice, easy to talk to. As their family has been parking where they've been parking for 50 plus 60 years, 70 years. And he wants me to force them to move. And to expedite it, and I know this to be true because I went and saw it with my own eyes, he put his garden hose so it would flood their front of their house, right? So before I ask the police to do what we must do, if I would like to try to find some common ground, excuse me, find some common ground to resolve this childish behavior. So what I'd like to do is I would like the council to support me to allow her and her grandmother, whoever else lives there, to park in front of their house. It's on Davis Lane. The road is narrow.
It's a dead end street, right?
It's at the end of the street.
It's a dead
Next stop is the bayou,
Right.
right? All I'm asking for you to do is to support me, to let this lady and her grandmother, whoever, park their cars in front of their house the way they have for the last 50 plus years. She's a property owner. I don't know either people, but all I'm saying is that I don't think we should make this worse. I don't think this should be a code violation. I don't think this should be acceptable behavior to flood a person's yard with water so that when you walk out of your house, you step in mud that sinks down over the top of your shoes and that your vehicle makes ruts in the ground and difficulty getting out of there. I just don't think that's right.
Well, isn't that more water revenue for the city?
Well,
Oh, it's well
it's
water. If it's city water, let them do it.
John, no. I don't want the revenue that bad, man. I don't need the money that bad.
What is the remedy of the water? Because the water's going to be stopped and keep.
Okay. If the council, first of all, agrees with me and will support this, we'll have to make a motion in a second and go through the voting process. And I will go down there and I'll tell him, don't do this no more, because first of all, it was told to me that he was watering his plants. Okay. So I went down there several times to look because I didn't get that feeling. The last time I went there was about 5 or 6 days ago. Sometimes we went in the city vehicle, sometimes I went in the POV. But it wasn't watering the plants. It was going through the chain link fence and flooding this people's home down there beyond their house. Well, that's just that. To me, that is ridiculous. So, what do you think, council? We can have some conversation on this. What do you want to do?
Go cut his water hose, I guess.
We can't do that neither. We can't do that neither.
Is that not a liability for the elderly people who live in that home that he's flooding out? I mean, what happens if that woman comes out of her home and injures herself?
There's not any
because of
elderly
this?
people living there.
Ma'am?
There's not any elderly people.
Yeah, but you don't know from day to day if a visitor may or may not come there, right?
That's true.
I mean, someone might come with a big plate of apple pie and say, we're bringing you an apple pie, and they fall over in the mud and then break their ankle.
Okay.
If, you know, and you're right.
Or
And,
somebody's vehicle getting stuck in the mud and then having to pay to have it towed. That would bring up more issues.
but we have no teeth right now to enforce by any measure, any rule, because we don't have a rule saying.
Are you stating that you want to be able to allow them to park on the easement in front of their home?
The easement is about that wide,
Okay.
right?
That's
It's
what I was
been
asking.
that, so that was a dirt road. When that house was built, the other houses weren't there,
Yeah.
right?
It's a dead end street.
And it was paved. There are 11 paved dead-end streets in Parker. You're not supposed to park on them. However, there is no place to park. And I don't want this to escalate, council, to the people on the opposing end, because this gentleman already told me that they were also in violation. They, on the opposing end of the road, have lived there in that family's home for probably 15 generations. I don't know, a long, long time. But what I'd like to do is to be able to tell these people that you can park there, because
So I
they're.
think a homeowner has precedence over a renter.
We don't have a rule as it stands right now.
I
No,
agree with
no, I don't. We could get to that maybe, but what I'm asking the council to do is to give us permission, me permission, to tell them that they can park there. And I'll at the same time tell him, like we did him, we gave him permission to rebuild his shed. And I don't understand why these folks are fighting, because there's no reason to fight over this.
Can emergency vehicles still get passed through if they park there?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would suggest if you do it, Mayor, that the
They
motion
don't
be
have to go
time
past
limited.
it.
In other words, give them permission for a period of time and then come back and revisit to see if there's still a need for that at some point
Okay.
over the deadline.
So Mr. Sloan gives me advice, as you see him here. He thinks if we're able to approve this, it should be time limited. In other words, we'll come back in 5 years and revisit
I
it.
was thinking something shorter than that.
Well, 4 years.
I would suggest maybe a year or
5
something.
years and 11 months.
Maybe,
5 years, 11 months we got on the table.
I'd say a year. But I'm sure they'll have something resolved.
I
by
hope
then,
so.
you know.
I hope so.
Maybe they'll-
So I also will tell you, if we start coding the rental property, he does not pay the fine, the property owner does. And I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to avoid making this worse so that I want everybody to be happy, not unhappy. But until I have something from the city council, I have no teeth to be able to stay. Yes, ma'am.
I would suggest that perhaps you reach out to the owner of the property and explain to him and
Already
let him
have.
what the situation is.
Did it already. I covered every base. I've been fighting this for a month. So I asked the council one more time, what do you think?
Yes.
Do what?
Let them,
Let them park? Is that a motion?
sure.
Okay,
For how long?
5 years.
Mayor,
Like Mr. Haney says, a year. If they haven't resolved it in a year, we'll resolve it for them.
Sure, I'll stick with that.
I'll
Okay,
second for a year.
okay. Mr. Haney's the second. You call a roll, please?
Miss Barrow,
Yes.
Miss Botiford,
Yes.
Mr. Chappell,
Yes.
Mr. Haney,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly.
Yes. Thank you, council. That is good government. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to talk about, Miss? Nothing? Nothing at all? Okay.
You want us to talk about something?
No, not necessarily. I'd like today to end. It's been a long, long day.
Might wanna just mention Ray Day.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, Mr. Davis is leaving us after 21 years of extremely loyal service. We're gonna close the city a half a day and have a meal for him. If anybody would like to come by and visit with Ray, at 1 o'clock on the 30th, is it?
Next Friday.
Next Friday, city will be closed half a day. They'll be down in the community building. And if you'd like to come by and say goodbye to him, come by around 1 o'clock and you could say goodbye. And Mr. Summerlin's already got a new guy to replace him. And hopefully it'll be as good as it was for when Mr. Davis was here. And I have one last thing to bring to your attention. On Monday, I don't know what time, I think at 9 o'clock, you will be able to go to Culver's Ice Cream and buy yourself a cheeseburger or fries or whatever it is Culver sells. And it will be open for business Monday at 9 o'clock. Yep. Yep, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Friday's it on the 30th?
Yes.
Here. So, he owns a piece of property.
Randy caused any problems the other day?
He's owned it forever.
Did Randy cause any problems?
And we thought that the road going through West Street
Only a little.
belonged to the city.
No, no.